Welcome to Oregon Voters Digest, the program that brings forward the social and political issues that are important to people living here in the Pacific Northwest. And now, your host, Bruce Broussard.
Welcome again to this segment of the Oregon Voters Digest. I'm Bruce Broussard, your host, and by George, well, it look like we're coming up to some major issues now. And so I thought what I'd do, I'd bring an old friend, an old military Air Force guy back to the table who's been here once before, been here many times before, aspect of it. But the whole idea is that we're going to be talking about the local issues. And, you know, there's some areas, we're going to have just a conversation about things that are happening now and bring you up to date on some things. And naturally, the city of Portland is major within this particular area. And then we've got the national issue too. That's sort of gearing up to the point that it's kicking off. Look like both candidates are running for president. And that, as far as I'm concerned, those are the two candidates going to be really into the main, I think, in the main general election aspect of it. The others are just there. They're struggling. So it's going to be interesting to see. And both entities have their issues. Yeah, and we can talk about that. I think that's a good issue aspect of it too. We're going to deal with, but then from a local standpoint, we'll also talk about that because we got some major issue. I mean, we were totally redesigning the city of Portland, and it's going to be a very interesting. I think it's going to be an interesting race. We're going to have a number of people that are going to be running for office, and a lot of times that sort of concerns you because, in all due respect, most of the folks are going to just be running for the namesake aspect of it. But we're really needing good leadership. We're going to need some leadership. And folks who are going to be running needs to meet certain criteria as far as I'm concerned. And you're going to have some kind of a background as to being able to talk to the issues at hand. You know, when you start talking about homelessness and talking about housing, you're talking about crime, you're thinking about drugs. There's a lot of things. Now, those are some of the major issue aspect of it. And if you got background in that arena, that would be great to have on your resume when you're running for office, because it's not going to be an easy run, but still, I think it's going to be a good idea. I think it's a good idea. And as far as the voters are concerned, I'm talking about at the end of the election, they're going to have 3 people that they can call now. They will have someone to respond to their calls in each of these 4 districts. 4 districts, and you're going to have 3 people, and so it's going to be very interesting. Okay, so but as we go further into the campaign, I'm going to be basically saying to anybody that's running for office can come here at the table at the Oregon Voters Digest and spend some time talking about what you're planning on doing, and spend some time on yourself, and we'll definitely give you the time, whether it be 30 minutes. Whether it be an hour, but in most cases, depending upon how many sign-ups we get, but we're going to give you some time, if you will, to express yourself, and I think that's important. And then you can stream it out to whomever you want it to get to. Okay. So with that, I got Bob Williams with me today, as you know. Again, and by the way, the military is still part of the process. We've got that background, and in many ways, and I'll tell that even to the candidates. See, we've already gone through, when we went through training, basic training. That was the entree, if you will, towards organizing yourself, because there's no such thing as unemployment once you're in the military. That's right. Everybody has a job, and you have to do that job. And the way they make sure that you're on target with that job, they've got an organized entity. They got the sergeants, the managers, and this, that, and the other. And you have to be producing. At the end of the day, you got to show some net work. And because if you're not doing your work, you're not going to be there. No. See, so that's why it's progressive. And you'll find that most veterans have a different sort of an attitude, even when they get out of the service. When I say they really not, but the bottom line is that they've got that training of management training skills and this, that, and the other, and they've got something to show. They've got a resume. They normally call it a MOS, military occupational skill, and that's a fact. You know, that's a fact, and it stays with them. They never forget it, right? Because it was there at the beginning, if you will. And so again, that's one of the reasons why I'm saying that might be somewhat of an asset if you are a veteran. That, you know, we would suggest to you that you may want to consider running for office, if you want to. But the bottom line is that it's a good deal. And then I guess the other thing is that we may want to spend some time with is the whole issue of old. And they keep bringing the subject about old, and that has nothing to do with issues as far as I'm concerned. My point is that let's stick with the issues. All I will say about the old thing, just real quick, and we'll have a discussion. In fact, we may want to start off on that. Is that someone said to me the other day, said, Bruce, what about the president's candidates? Both of them are old. They're too old to serve in this, that, and the other, and on and on and on. And then the only thing I say, the only thing I look at is that I remember when I was going to school, when I was going to college, I had to pick up an old book. They gave me an old book.
That's right.
So and what are you going to do? You're going to call your parents old? I mean, when you're dependent upon them? Let's talk about that right off the bat. Let's get that old.
Right off the bat.
What is it? What is the old thing?
The old thing is a catchphrase, I call it. Everybody has to have. In politics, there's a word called spin. Spin, S-P-I-N.
Okay.
And each side spins something. Mm-hmm. And if you notice that when one of those people on, whether it's the left or the right, one of those people started off, everybody on that side uses it. So now it's age. They talk about our old
the president is. It's an age thing now.
Yeah. And so, but if you are able to think, if you are able to communicate, if you are able to listen to people, the older you get, the more you listen and the more you think about it, and more times than not, you don't make the same mistakes you did when you were young, because you have some knowledge as far as what's going on. So whatever happened to that, the president has to be a certain age. He can't be 21. He got to be 35, or older. So now all of a sudden they want to say, well, they're too old to be here. Well, why? Because they have all the knowledge and they won't go for your okie doke. You look at the guys that are, most of the young people that's in Congress and everything today, they're stuck over here on stupid, I call it. Congress, and there's the reason that when our forefathers set up our representatives and how the system worked, there was a reason for it. It was called, we can't get along. And so they set it up where not one branch can have all the say-so. That's why you have a legislative, a judicial, and executive.
But like you said, that's been going for years.
Yeah. And so
I think the reason why they
thought George Washington was a little.
But again, that's where I'm coming from the standpoint that we get ready to get into issues.
Yeah.
But in all due respect, the media in many ways, because it gets political.
They lead.
You got a CNN and you got a Fox. Mm-hmm. Okay, got me. And so, as you say, the spin piece. Right. So these guys are both over 70 years old. Aspect of it. So they start playing the old deal. And if you notice, and they were spending quite a bit of time initially on the front end of the old piece on Biden. Mm-hmm. Because of how he walks and how he did, and I'll be right up front with you. He was not a military person,
right?
Okay, but in all due respect, on the Trump side, he was. He went to academy. He went to ROTC. But he went to. But my point is just like us.
Yeah.
I mean, we know our left foot from our right foot. Aspect of it. But my point is that I'm not saying that Biden should have been a military person, but I'm just saying to you that they went, the media in this particular case just went to him and only took shots of his personal issues. Mm-hmm. He's not representing personal issues.
Right.
He's supposed to be representing major issues of this country, and so I fault, if you will, in many ways, the communicators from the media standpoint for doing it, and they did it on both sides. And then the other side was kind of interesting. They did Biden on the age piece, mm-hmm. and on Trump. They did the age piece on him and his son.
Right.
which is kind of an interesting aspect of it.
Who has never been
And
elected for anything.
And we can talk about that piece. That's another piece, because we all have family members, and we know what that's all about. But still, if you notice, the media hit the personal side. Got my point? And the same thing with Trump in many ways. They did the same thing on the personal side. So I think that we need to really understand that, because that's not going to help our issues worldwide, if you will.
Well, at home, period.
Yeah.
It doesn't. What does Trump or Biden being old do for me, or do against me? You know.
But if it's the major issue that's going to force you to the poll,
most of us don't even know what the issues are.
That's what I'm
simply
saying.
because of the fact that they're talking about their
But they do
age.
understand the definition of old from their perspective, as a personal standpoint.
Right.
See, and I'm saying that should not be on the table.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. I
agree.
I think, and they've got, and when you think about previous elections aspect of it, when person get to the point where they'll just have to get out the way or whatever. And when you look at the Senate, when you hit the Senate and the seniorities of that end of it, you got a whole bunch of folks up there.
They all
Bird and all them cats, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
and now they're trying to get rid of the what's his name?
Speaker of the Senate, McConnell. Yeah, McConnell.
You know,
and
when your boys turn on you, you got a problem.
Well, but
you know, when your gang turn on you.
No, but how was the problem created? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You notice what they started doing again? Start focusing on his person. You know, all of a sudden taking a shot of him in the front of the mic, and then stop. That kind of deal. But a lot of little things happen to folks. Whatever, you know. What about you know what I'm saying? So that's a very important piece, because we need to get back on the lane of the issues that we got to resolve.
The idea is if you keep garbage in front of the public or the voters, then you don't have to worry about those voters, because you're going to eliminate the ones that you want to eliminate. You know, and that's the thing that most people don't understand, is that it's a reason that they go there. And that is to divide. If they can divide the voters, Republicans, in most cases, they don't care what you say about their candidate. If that's the one that's been chosen, then they're going to vote for him. Well, you know, but Democrats, we are a house divided. I'm gonna tell you from being there, we are a house divided. All it takes is a little shaking, and some of us will fall off the ladder. You know, and so we have to stop that. We have to ask ourselves some certain questions. How does that affect the running of the country?
Well, the issues. There's issues.
Yeah.
It's the issues. And we're talking about, and that's what I'm saying. Just like I said, and the media, I think, has a lot to do with it.
Without a doubt.
Because, and then you ask yourself, well, now who controls the media? And that's the commercialization. You know what I mean? The commercial. They got to get that public, because the name of the game is that they got to get those viewing audience, if you will, to be able to get paid.
Right.
Because those people they're not volunteering. They're getting paid, right, if you will, and so consequently, you got to look at that structure from the standpoint of why they're doing what they're doing. But from a historical standpoint, they reacted based on the monies that they get from the candidate to put out their ads.
Right.
You got me? And a lot of times, those ads that they were putting out had information on the issues. Now, when you think about it,
they used to have.
That's what I'm saying.
Used to be.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah. Now it's personal.
But now it's just the heck with the ad.
Yeah.
They've made their own ad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And but again, that's progression, though.
Maybe we are old, Bruce,
well,
because we remember the good times in politics.
Yeah, but my point is that old in retrospect.
We're not, as one of my family members said, Bob, you're not up to date. I say, up to date on what?
That's right.
I says, give me a subject. And so I said, well, no, things are changing fast and you're not keeping up. I said, well, just because I don't buy a computer every 6 months don't mean I'm not keeping up. And that's what's going on in politics.
Yeah, but
they want to.
But the person that asked you the question, you should have just turned right around and said, "Well, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What about you?" No.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get.
These are very
understand.
serious times right now. We got some very serious issues.
Need to kick out. If a person come in, they want to talk about their opponent. Remember back in the day where you didn't even mention your opponent. You didn't say his name, or her name. You didn't say what they did or what they didn't do. You talked about your issues and what you were going to do.
Well, the moderator basically made sure you spoke to the issues.
Yeah.
And in all due respect, even from the presidential election aspect of it, and as I see it, when you think about those debates in the past, they gave those individuals because they knew what the issues were.
Yeah, they gave them the questions.
They gave them the question because those were the questions that had to be answered to the voting public, so that they could respond accordingly to keep this country going the way we've always had it going, in a positive way.
And that's where the spin come in, because if you're running for president and I'm on your team, or I'm there, what you say dictates what I say. I.e., if you're a Republican, I'm a Republican, and all other Republicans. If you're running and you push an issue, I got to push that issue, and it becomes spin. We all spin it the same way.
But it's still talking to the issue.
Yeah. So what issue are they talking
about? Not the personal. About? That's what I'm saying. But still,
sure.
We got the personal is up front. The personal, if it's going to be a personal situation, they always talk to you about you got to wear the suit, you got to wear the tie routine. In fact, they try to take as many things from that your setting.
Right.
It's what's coming out of your mouth, if you will.
They changed that in 2016. They really changed that.
But I'm still saying the media. Do you recognize that?
And you know who ran in 2016, and he didn't have any political knowledge, as far as I'm concerned. He was a businessman, and he understood business, and he could say what he wanted at the business table because it wasn't about politics. It was about making money. And so he talked about people's mother. He talked about your family member. He talked about everything other than the politics. Or the only, and people, he's different. So people like different, and they voted for him.
Yeah, but who headed the deal? Who headed the moderator? The media.
The media. And they let him get away with it.
No. I'm just saying it's not about letting go. That was their platform.
Yeah, but prior to him, when they had debates, it was on issues, and you waited until it was your turn to talk. In 2016, politics changed to the worse. I.e., you started making a point, I cut you off. And a perfect example of that was the debate that just went on. I thought that was the funniest thing I ever seen. I have never seen a debate where candidates were afraid to condemn their opponent for anything. Even though it was wrong, they didn't condemn him. I was like, wow. And some praised the candidate. And I'm like, what are you running for if you don't have an issue and you're supporting their issue? Why are you running?
But still, I still go back. It's media driven.
Yeah.
The person wouldn't be going to that, as you say, issue and then jumping on this issue with reference to mention this other person because that was a creation. Now, my point, it wasn't.
I understand.
As if to say, in all due respect, as if to say, here, normally when you get in that kind of a situation where you're running for, let's say, president of the United States, the numbers that it comes up about what it takes to win.
Oh yeah.
It's all about getting your name out there and your face out there, right? All that kind of good stuff. And the media picks that up.
Right.
Picks that money up, right? Okay, got me? And then now, like you said, here's a guy, and I'm talking about Trump right now. He's not even on the debate deal.
Right.
He's getting more free ads than anybody else.
That's right.
But yes, it's not him saying, look here, I don't want it. He said, hey, fine, great. I'm running for office. And he's taking advantage of the peace. So the media has to get back on track, if you will, and I think that's the key. And then
Wait, but here's the thing, Bruce. The media, the reason they do the things that they do is because of what? The almighty dollar.
Yeah.
And so if they get back on track, you think they're gonna? How do they attract the public to watch their station? The public is going to find that fantasy, that part where it's so unreal it can't be true, but I'm going to listen to it anyway. You know, they want the housewives, whether they're Atlanta or the mobs or whoever. They want to watch that rather than something serious like the NBC News.
Well, but like you said, like his things have changed. I mean, a lot of times the people who are sort of in need of recipients, if you will, of the dollars to solve their problems, they don't look at TV. They don't look at politics. That's not their game. Like you said, they're looking at this as an exciting piece over here.
Right.
And a lot of times, and even the ads are changing. The ads are changing. I mean, you right up front, you see, in all due respect, here we are going in different aspects of it. But you see diversity there big time. You see all kinds of folks running. I mean, the whole color, if you will, of the country now is being exposed. We got many cultures in it, and things are exposing itself as a result of, guess what? That the almighty dollar and purchasing whatever products.
Right.
Because different people, different cultures have different products, and you got more products on the table to select. All of a sudden, so you're switching TV every time you turn around. But again, getting back to the Trump and Biden situation, which is a very important piece, because we're still talking about the election aspect of it. The media really needs to take cognizance, not only in the media, because they're getting paid. You got the people that are being paid, and you got the people who own the piece. You got my point? The cat up in Britain, whoever owns he owns Fox. You know what I'm talking about? Maddox or something like that.
No, I'll think his name in a second.
But anyway, yeah. But the bottom line is that it's a whole different. Now he's a businessman.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? He bought the paper. That's a right, if you will. And then the key is that he's from an investment standpoint. He's
expect a return on his money.
Return on his money. That's a very legitimate deal. That's what this country was built.
Welcome to America.
And then the media guy people, they're switching back and forth. But if you got the two major ones, because they've got more money in each of these two, they got other ones.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, they got the two major ones. And so, but getting down again to the bottom line, and that's why we're talking about this piece. Look here, stop. We got some major issues that needs to be on the table right now. I mean, we've educated the world. That's the other thing. We've educated the world, and these folks have gone back to their countries, and they want to be like us. And then at the same time, they're saying, well, we want to be just like them. And then the ones that can buy over here, they're buying, purchasing, and trying to buy stock in some of the companies. So we're in kind of a transition.
But we've been selling this country since the 50s.
Yeah, but we've already sold it.
Yeah, it's gone. You're working for some foreign entity.
Yeah.
So if it's a big business, you're 99. Most of the time, you're working for a foreign entity. I'm not going to say all the time, because, and when you're dealing in banking, one of the things that you need to realize is that there's a reason that the federal government stepped in and saved the banks years ago. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Remember those days where they used to tell us that the dollar, there was gold behind the dollar? I said, well, I don't think it is anymore. And I laugh at people that look at politics, and they're driven by today's number one item of the day.
But you bring but again, I'm glad you brought that piece up, because that's the majority of the population don't understand the definition of politics.
No, they don't.
It's been just a small group, if you will. The entities, the entities that are lobbying, if you will.
Right.
The individuals who are elected to office. Because
There's a reason they are
they
there.
representing business.
That's right.
They representing business, and then again, fortunately for this country, we got a deal called government, because that's really where the majority of the population is supposed. That's who basically is supposed to be representing that majority.
Right.
They use government, but the cat with that money. And said, because that's basically what it is. You say, look here, I got an ad. I want you to buy this. I'm going to give you the money so you can go in there and support my piece.
Right.
And that's it. See, and so that might have worked for a certain period of time, but as you say, the founding fathers was way back when they were relating, if you will, to the same issues that we're talking about today, but in a different time zone. You see what I'm saying?
It wasn't so much they had fought against that foreign energy.
That's right.
Because we were new coming in.
That's right.
And now they were trying to put something together, and what did they have to build on?
That's right.
What they came from.
That's right. And you know, and then and quietly it was scared. And we see it when you go back and go to history and this, that, and the other. You know. How this country was put together, you know.
Oh, man.
It was all about the money. It was about the money because the mother country, like the England or whatever, they basically were sending folks to foreign areas and whatever and developing economics.
Right.
And it was still the money that was developing that economic aspect of it. So consequently, but it's changed at a different level. So we just kind of like upgrading. Now we're saying we haven't changed anything.
No.
It's still an economic situation. Big time is about the dollar.
That's why
this country's on.
You have certain countries that are communists. You have certain that are socialists. In America, we're capitalists.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you don't believe it, go broke.
and you know, and when you think about it, you know, that when we just talking, we talk, folks. I hope you understand where we're coming from. Maybe you should have some of these same conversations that we're having.
If you think we're wrong, look online.
Yeah. See, but when you say, well, okay, when we're capitalists and this, that, and the other, and what this country was about. This was kind of a melting pot, if you will, of an exploratory deal, you know, from the standpoint. It was a freedom. It was about the dollar. It was
people
economics.
came from other countries to get away from what they were doing.
That's right. But it was economics.
Right.
Because that's how the country got built to begin with. It came from another country that was in the same situation that we were in.
Right.
You got me? But they had their own. They were the run. They ran everything, so to speak. And they sent some of their folks and their concept. But some of those folks came in and said, "Well, gee, I want to be like this. I can't get it."
I don't have to send it all back to them. Yeah. We can keep it here.
Well, we could because I can't get it that to you.
Yeah.
And so they started developing, and then they started opening it up to other folks in these other countries that had a couple of bucks that made some bucks,
right?
And they came over here and got to be a part of the piece. So as you can see, it might be a little confusing. You might think that we're juggling things all over the place, but trust me,
it all is a circle.
But it's going to work itself out.
Oh yeah.
It's going to definitely work itself out. But this particular round, like I said, we got the upcoming presidential election, and if you can do anything, have a discussion that we're just having at this point in time with your neighbor and this, that, and the other, and just throw it on the table. But when you're looking at that presidential race aspect of it, regardless of how many people is running on either side of this, make sure that the issues are being discussed.
Right.
And then because you're not going to be able to control all of it, but what you do have control, you have that one vote. You have that vote. So when that person is asking your vote, if you want to go out there and find out who that person is, and this, that, and the other, call them up. If they don't call you, this is my issue. I'm concerned about public safety. I got folks doing this. I'm concerned about how much the food is costing down there in the grocery store.
Right.
And where is it coming from? I'm concerned about my health. And I'm sitting here, I don't have enough money to get my health. And what about my mortgage payment? I can't get my mortgage payment paid. Right. I don't know what to do.
Well, the thing that you need not to do is say it's the government's fault that oil prices is high. I don't know where the government of this country set oil prices. I don't know which branch.
Well, they don't set. They use it. It's called they drive the cars.
But that's the
majority of the people. See, they drive cars.
Us.
The people who own the oil don't drive cars. They got
well here's the thing. Here's the thing, really and truly. When you know when they say I loved it when they used to say, well, it started with Bush. Bush, the oil prices went up on him, and that Bush is making oil prices go up. Well, it was Democrats. I was in a Democratic meeting once, and they said this, and I said, what does Bush do to make oil prices go up? I said, that's all I want to know. And no one could answer me. I said, I can tell you absolutely nothing, because number one, the president's office don't make law. That's Congress's job. I said, so he doesn't make oil prices. I say OPEC sets your oil prices when you pay for that 5-gallon drum, whatever of oil that comes from a foreign country. And how we combat that is by opening some oil fields in our country.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give you another scenario. I'm gonna give you another scenario. Well, first, when Ford got into the car making business, it was one car, right? So right. And oil was, there was no need for oil. We had
our own.
We had whale oil.
Yeah,
you didn't need that much. You know what I'm saying? And people living opening this, that, and the other. Then all of a sudden he built 4 or 5 cars. Okay, so he said, what is it going to run on, right? Can't you run on whale oil? So they tried the oil deal. But the more people bought cars, there's demand for oil, and the guy who's selling the cars is raising his profit, right? And then the oil I can make. Now I'm not going to sell it for.
You can't run your car if you don't have my oil.
That's right.
So this is the price I want.
So now you see it, but now it's not just one person.
Yeah.
It's everybody, and including, if you will, many folks who are just voters, because a lot of times people don't realize when a lot of things you do and those credit cards and this, that, and the other. I mean, oil is major in that kind of stuff because you paying it back.
Right.
Indirectly, in order to be ready, we're the creators. If we didn't buy the car, it wouldn't be an issue today.
Yeah.
But we bought the car. Now look at the electrical car. Now that's going to be a big issue. I don't know whether they're going to change the oil deal and go to the electrical deal. And they've been starting with the windmills and stuff,
right,
and this, that, and the other. So
they stopped talking about solar and wind generated.
So who drives those points? The cat over here that may have a commodity that he wants to sell, right? Got me?
And see, when you start studying and looking at things when it comes to electric cars, the question number one, just do your flashlight. You use that flashlight, you use it, and all of a sudden one day you go to use it, and what happened? It doesn't come on. Why not? The battery is dead. So what do you have to do? You have to go out and buy new batteries, or you have to charge those you have. Well, in this electric car, what do you think is going to happen to those $11,000, $12,000 batteries?
And who owns the batteries?
That's right.
See, and right now they're saying, I think there was a
is in
China.
No, it's a country starts with a B, Bolivia or something like that, where the product that are in batteries is they digging it up there, and it's a lot of stuff going on.
But you got to find out who's basically pushing the piece.
Well, China and the Asian countries, I should say, they're building the batteries.
Right.
I mean, whatever happened to us doing our own?
Well, don't forget now, the major investment for all of these entities that are out there is right here in these United States.
Yeah.
Even the folks that are thinking about, well, gee whiz, we got the Chinese over here, we got to worry about them, but they own real estate here, big time. Everybody owns real estate.
Oh yeah,
and it's an open market aspect of it. It's not just China; it's everybody.
Yeah, for
that matter. It's a melting pot, and we just happen to be sitting in the crucible,
And then we got idiots want to talk about racism.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna go there today, but I mean, if you knew what was going on around you, you'd love your neighbor.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the only thing that excuse the French, that the poor man had.
Yeah.
The majority, because you need some excuse to worry about. You didn't have a good day on the job today. You don't.
How can he have what I can?
You're not working. He's eating a steak. I'm smelling this barbecue over there, and I can't get the meat.
That's it.
And so it's just an all this.
It's ridiculous.
So the key again, it's where Bob and I were talking the way we're talking this now, because we're saying we come from a background, as you said, we're very familiar with politics. We know, we understand what that's all about. We understand the inflation piece aspect of it. We understand the selling piece. We've had that resume. That resume is built up. So I'm saying to you, you're gonna all at one point in time, you're gonna have a resume. Everybody's gonna have a resume. Everybody's gonna have a resume. And that's the beauty of the country. Sometimes you got to understand. Don't try to get another lane.
Stay in your own lane.
Stay in your own lane. And if you think you can make it over here, but make sure you got.
You better come prepared because there's a fight over there.
Because things have changed now.
Oh yeah.
It costs you more to get in the other lanes aspect of it. You know, there's no such thing as a 100,000 as you can't. No, even the $1 million aspect of it. That's $1 million is like 100,000. See what I'm saying? So you just keep on. Now it's all of a sudden it's got to be a billion.
Yeah.
And then a trillion. You know, and then guess what? Media. It's got every day it comes on and tells you about. Let's look at people's assets. They tell you all these folks. But my point is, it's an education thing.
I'll give you a perfect example. Kid that I used to go down to University of Oregon and watch him play football.
Yeah.
You know, Justin Herbert just signed a contract. You know, he signed the contract. I think he makes like around 46 million a year.
Yeah.
Another guy that I watched on TV 2 years ago is now playing, 3 years ago, is playing for the Bengals. He just signed a contract for 256 million over 5 years. That's over 50 million. You know, I mean, he's making 52 million a year. Throwing a football. You know, I mean, for that guy that's going out and working and making sure that you're at transit or the train or building a car or teaching your kids, they're trying to scuffle and make ends meet.
Yeah.
Something is wrong with this picture.
Well, now wait a minute.
we're not trying to figure out what it is. It's a puzzle, but we don't have the right pieces.
Right, but just like you're saying, you know, I mean, I used to like to have gone to games when the price was right.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's gone sky high. I don't go to the game.
Right.
I watch it on TV, and in most cases, if I can find it on the regular TV, I'm cool there. And then I find it because I know that at the end of the season, they're going to play it on the regular channels.
Right.
For
somewhere.
The last, I mean, the championship games, right? But beforehand, you're going to have to pay to see these other deals. So the key is that. The key is that that's the way our society is,
right?
And that's the way the world is, aspect of it, and so people need to know that we need to educate people more. And in fact, we again here we're talking about education. We need to put that back into the school system. Beforehand, we were getting educated. We had American history. We had all kinds of history. I mean, we that was the whole basis of the education, and then economics, all that stuff was set up in there. Now all of a sudden, it's not there,
right?
And and you got the new society. You got these young folks who can do this thing backwards and forward. But the fact of the matter is, you don't realize that when they created this deal, everything that's in there had to be inputted by another person.
Right.
Now this thing, you don't need anybody.
AI.
You don't need. This thing creates its own.
Yeah. And
everything that we know.
And all those movies we used to watch in the 50s and 60s about the computers and the robots and everything taking over.
And guess who's looking at all that? The old folks. They won't say the old folks, and closer to folks to the 30s or whatever. They still going back. The music, the same thing with the music piece. So just like Bob was saying, we're just having a good conversation with you right now, but by emphasis that what we're doing is that we're trying to put all of this stuff that you should ignore while we're going through this situation of what our needs are as far as the issues are concerned. We got some major issues and that we got to straighten up now because we're adding too many people to the homeless list. And I'm not talking about just people just sitting out there that you see. I'm talking about people already sitting in their homes.
Right.
They're about one paycheck from being in the same situation. Okay, you got me? So that's why I'm saying we want to get all this garbage stuff out the way.
Right.
But it's a very serious situation, so please don't get caught up in that lane that all of a sudden you get so frustrated and start. Suicide rate is going up too now. People are just blowing them. And they say, "Hey, I can't deal
with it." So they
say, "But please."
And then they're killing you.
That's right.
You know,
right.
And when I say you, that's you, me. That's walking outside thinking we're safe.
Yeah.
Who was walking in the park the other day, and the dude comes up and shoots him and 2 or 3 other people.
Yeah.
You know, people they just don't have any conscious. Well, they're so overwhelmed by what's going on until they just give up. But when they give up, they don't just take themselves. Sometimes they take one of us.
So we got so like you said, Bob, you're right. But the fact of the matter is, we got so many things that's available to us too now. You can dip anywhere you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want to do. Aspect of it, and so that has to be reorganized. We don't have the draft anymore.
Right.
For instance, in all due respect, that'd be an excellent opportunity. It was an excellent opportunity. We're both recipients of that. It wasn't the college degree.
Right.
It's the nature that I got from that because I didn't have access.
I had to go there in order to go back and get my college degree because I wasn't organized at all.
You understand what I'm saying?
And so I've been a lost kid on the south side of Chicago.
See, that to me is the backbone, that the military piece for the majority of the population. That was the backbone of this country.
Yeah.
Because we got involved in
and we cared.
Oh, we cared big time. I mean, we cared.
You know, today how in the world can people come together and talk bad about where you live? Mm-hmm. That's like saying that your house is better than my house.
That's right.
And I ain't gonna do nothing about my house, but I'll come over and help you.
That's right.
That's how dumb we are becoming.
That's right.
You know, I mean, that's how I shouldn't say becoming. That's how dumb we sound sometimes.
Right.
But the real truth of the matter is, Bruce. And you talked about it, and we're gonna get back to the political side,
sure.
And that's the homeless.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care what street you walk down in the city of Portland, there's a homeless person. Yesterday, I'm leaving home, and there's a person on the corner, and they just yelling and screaming, and everybody's passing right on by like they don't exist.
Yeah.
You know. I started to pull over, but I went, they're yelling and screaming because somebody in their family or something is not taking care of them, or the people that we've hired, that we pay taxes to do that are passing them by.
Yeah.
I said, so, wow. I said, and then you go down another street, and there's all these campers and tents and everything on the sidewalk. And you go, if you read anything, you realize that diphtheria and all these other diseases come from that filth.
Yeah.
You know, you got rats running rampant. You driving along, and all of a sudden there's a big rat going across the street. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
And the managers, i.e. politicians, and put them in that run. They're supposed to be able to manage and resolve those issues. And that's why we're talking about this way. It's so important because we've gotten away from getting the folks with the background to resolve these issues. I'll give you a good example of that. For instance, I've been Zooming the county meetings and the city meetings now as opposed to driving down there.
Right.
The rationale is very simple. You go to the county meeting, I'm the public, I'm the taxpayer aspect of it. I got something on my mind to talk about solving a problem, or I have a problem, okay? And I go up there to express myself. Normally they start off the meeting expressing yourself.
You got 3 minutes.
No, you got 2 minutes now. They've changed the format. The county has gone to 2 minutes. How can you can barely identify yourself before you can come 2 minutes. And now imagine the stress that goes on with it. And for instance, this one guy came up in there and he said, well, look here. And he had his mother with him. And he had his mother sitting there, and they gave him his 2 minutes. And he said, wait a minute, look here. You know, my mother's getting ready to be thrown out of her house. You're going to foreclose on it, and you're going to get the property. You know, why can't you keep her in the property? She didn't have any. Where's she going to stay after that? Right. I mean, it was an awesome deal. Finally, the chairman kind of said, "Well, look, maybe you need to talk to one of my staffers, right?" Yeah. But the rest of the folks have just as much of a concern about what their issues are. So there's no place for the public to go
Right.
in the front of people that they just elected, that they elected.
Right.
The people elected these folks, and so that's why again I'm throwing that point out there, because that's what we're going to be doing. We want to make sure we're going to be focusing on the issues. It's not going to be about personality.
Right.
The only problem I'm going to have, if a lot of times a person who may be elected might get upset with you, because if you got an issue, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do everything that I can to put you, get you under. But that's a bunch of crap. No, it's the issue.
Right.
So you got to represent the issue. And if I don't understand the issue, then it's your job, because you're getting paid for the issue. I mean, when you're looking at in all due respect with the county, you got a chairman making over $200,000 a year. You got the commissioners making over $150,000 a year aspect of it. And I looked at those folks in the county, and I looked at them, and I looked at their resumes, and I looked at my resumes. What if they don't even have any background?
Right.
So my point is that they OJTing. It's almost like being in boot camp. We don't need people in boot camp. We want you after the fact. That's what those folks. Those should be seasoned people that are able to deal with the issues. And we got problems with it. The same thing that goes on with the city. Got me? And by the way, there was one city commissioner was there at the meeting, this last meeting they had at the county, Rene Gonzalez. But then you look at Rene, he got a resume. He got a resume, and he's an attorney.
Right.
So he can read. You got me? But he's also as a doer. When you look at it, he's a businessman too. He was a businessman before he got there. He was a lawyer. So my point, and you've noticed he's kind of like a mayorship aspect of it. And they've already asked him, by the way, which I think he would be a heck of a candidate. I'm sure the people that are.
But one of the things that happened to these people is that when they get into office, they stop trying to be doers and try to be consolers.
But that's the problem. They ain't doers to start with. The reason why they want to do the other thing, they don't have the background. They can't solve the problem. You got to do something for that money.
And don't know where to go. See, I was raised by a man that told me, he said, Bob, you don't have to know everything, but you should know somebody that knows something.
But not today.
You
better know
good managers surround themselves with what? Good people.
That's right. That's right.
When we were in the service, if you showed the SARS that you could do it, shoot, he wanted more of you.
That's right.
And so we today, we just surround ourselves with people that say, yeah, that's right, you got it, yeah, I don't need a yes man. Yes men don't get anything done. That's why I like LeBron. LeBron is not surrounded by yes men. He's surrounded by his boys that say, we're going to take care of you, and we're going to take care of the things that you want taken care of. Well, and that's what they do. And and we need to start thinking about that when we vote. What are you going to do when you're in office that's going to help the public?
I'm saying even better. We got to get more confined. These are the issues.
Yeah. That's true.
I've got public safety.
Got lazy.
I got public safety here. What are you going to do? In fact, what are you going to do for my vote to solve this problem?
Right. And now, we got a public safety issue.
You understand me? It's a public safety. In fact, we got a human issue, and that's the homeless aspect of it. What are you going to do about the homeless issue? In fact, I go to the grocery stores now, and I don't have enough money to purchase this way. But then on the other hand, here's a situation here where you're giving food away,
right?
And I can't even get it, and I'm paying for it. I'm paying for that. You still so again. We're having just a good discussion because when these next shows that are going to be coming up, it's not going to be this discussion. We're going to be talking about the issue because we're going to have the names of the people who are saying, I'm running for this office, and we're going to focus on those individuals.
So if you're thinking of running, put your issues out there so we can get them before we have to ask what they are.
No, we got to tell you. No, in fact, in all due respect, I've been lobbying for this. We've been talking about this thing. As far as I'm concerned, they should change the application process, so to speak, rather than just put your name and your phone number.
And your email
and your email in that there. I want you to attach your resume.
Yeah.
And then I also would like for the organizers, if you will, to identify the three top three top issues, got me, and that you have to respond to it just like you do in the voters pamphlet,
Right.
for each one of them, and attach all that together. And see what that'll do. That'll save you some time and some money, because if you're not ready to be able to deal with the issues, you're not going to be there, and you're going to be more stressful, and you're going to be out of money, and you're not going to resolve the issues that I'm concerned about in public safety, or the human elements that's sitting out there called homeless aspect of it, the medical issue, the housing issue.
Right.
Let's say, and we all identify with one of those. I don't give a darn how rich you are. Got my point? Rich you are or how poor you are.
Right.
We all identify with some of these issues, so we're looking for the right manager. You can't have all the answers, but you got to be able to say, I've got some background in that area to a certain degree, and I have an idea of what's going down. That's all. Fair?
That's fair. And I mean, and not only that, but you got to be a people person.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you can't just lock up and say, talk to my staff.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
You have to. When I went up to Congress and I wanted to talk to one of the congressmen. He saw it was me, and he knew what I did with the union.
Then you open the door.
He opened the door and
Right,
called me in.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was really kind of funny, and other people was on, man, I've been waiting for so long, I can't even talk to him. And
that's right.
I'm like, hey, you got to know somebody.
But nowadays, that person that you said beforehand, guess what they will do? They'll firebomb, they'll go out and get their weapons and come back and shoot at him or something. And that's what we are. We shouldn't be that way. If we're gonna live in a society tomorrow, we better solve some of these problems today.
That's it. And the worst problem we have is for people thinking that you're not American because you don't believe the way they believe.
Yeah.
You don't do it the way they do it.
But then I'm gonna go right back to the main, and that's the area that we're gonna really deal with, is the media.
Yeah.
Not the individuals that you see as far as the announcing aspect of it. It's the people who owns that piece. They need to understand what we're talking about right now, so that those folks can do their job more correctly. Talk to the issues.
Right.
Got my point? See, that's a very important piece, because even the race issue. When you think about the race issue, we wouldn't be dealing with the race issue today if, in fact, the media has the way they throw that stuff out. It keeps both entities. And the
It's money making.
It's a money making issue.
It's a money maker.
Big time.
Race is a money maker.
It's a big time money
Yeah.
maker aspect of it, but people are getting tired of that stuff now. See, we're a melting pot now.
Right.
People.
Hey.
See.
And that's the thing, Roy. And I mean, and the young people, yeah,
Oh, this.
they understand it, but you know, as you get older, you begin to get slower, and you begin to kind of conform, and then you end up. And next thing you know, you're in it, and that's how they keep it going.
Well,
you know,
they wasn't part of developing the old book.
right?
Because when they're going to school, that's what they got to read, and we don't read.
Yeah, how does this help me?
Throw this
Yeah.
thing out the door. Look here, this is it. I'm just as strong. I can run. This, that. But you're gonna be slowing down here
That's
very shortly, or this, that, and the other. But you can't say that about your father or your grandfather or your. See, those are real folks, and those folks have problems right now. Those folks are having problems.
That's right.
As far as homelessness aspect of it, being able to eat
Care.
well, you'd be surprised if they were able to put some visuals out to show you how people really live. You know, just you notice people don't invite their folks to come to their house as much as they used to.
Right.
Got me? Because they know they don't have all of that wherewithal, and et cetera, and they're stressed out trying to make that's real. It's a real world aspect of it. So we need to deal with that. We've done. Here we are. We spent an hour.
Wow, already?
It's an hour. But it just tells you how serious it is.
Oh yeah.
It's a very serious situation. So don't get personal thinking about, well, what about Bob? What about Bruce? No. the issue. Get together with your neighbor.
That's
Go
it.
through that same little discussion that we've been having right now. But get together with your neighbor. You need to get your neighborhood watch back,
Right.
where people are getting together and talking and this, that, and the other. You need to make sure you know where your kids are in the evening. You know what I'm saying? You need to know that when people come out of those institutions, they are still family members,
That's
aspect of it, and they got to get a job and
Somewhere.
you have to work. In most cases, they got to start at home where they recognize people, because you need a start
Right.
to be able to get back into society.
And
So-
and you know, my favorite thing I tell friends and family is that you're not a parent just because you have kids.
Right.
You're a parent when you train those kids and you teach them to honor and respect others. I said, and my real thing is when your kid comes home and you throw them a plate of food, that doesn't mean you're taking care of them. Sit down and talk. Say, hey, how was your day? Get them to talking to you rather than them going in the room and playing with the computer
And eating.
and eating.
And they haven't fixed it.
Nothing.
They haven't fixed it.
Don't have any.
Don't even have the idea of
Hey.
fixing it. And go down to McDonald's and get your deal.
That's right. Hey, I am proud to say that all my sons can cook.
That's right.
All my daughters don't depend on a man to take care of them.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so
But that's this era.
Yeah.
But what about their kids?
yeah.
No, that's another
hey,
issue.
my grandkids, they're doing it. I got one that's a captain in the army. She's unreal.
No. I'm talking about the little ones. I'm talking about their babies.
Oh, the babies.
Yes, they're
those are my grandkids. They were their babies. But the youngest one, shoot, she's 2 years old
Okay.
and learning to
Oh, they
read,
talk- oh,
know her
that's right,
colors
that's right,
and
that's right,
learning
that's
to
right,
read.
that's right.
You know, and
That can't happen because you're too old.
yeah, that's what that's what everybody want to tell us. We too old. Hey, education is the key, and being
That's right.
involved. You know,
That's
I thought I said
Yeah.
when I was
Oh, yeah.
50, when I
Oh,
was
yeah.
in my 50s, I said,
Yes.
you know, I won't be doing this
That's right.
in my 60s
That's
and
right.
70s.
That's right. That's right.
I said, so I ain't gonna be doing this. Somebody else will. Well,
But
you know
were
what?
fortunate to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because most cases, your parents didn't have that lane aspect of it, but you did it with basketball,
Yeah.
let's say. You got me? Or you did with the service. You got me? The same with me. I did it with the service. You know,
Yeah.
the good Lord gave me some way. I was able to do this, do that, do this, do that, and as a result of that, I'm feeling good today.
That's right.
At my old age.
That's right. And here we are.
Yeah.
You know, where's those young people that want to come and be involved?
Yeah, that's right.
That, you know,
But we
voting is an issue
Yeah.
that takes care
It's
of
serious.
what's going on
That's
in
right,
our
that's right.
society.
And they need to be at
You
the table.
need to vote.
You got to vote, and you need to know what you're voting
I'm
for.
gonna wear my shirt that says that says something to my people.
That's right.
You know,
right.
I'm gonna wear my shirt next week when we do this.
Okay.
That says that, along with my hat, that let you know, hey, it's not too late to join the service.
That's right. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if I had anything to do with it, I'd reinstate the draft.
Yeah.
Trust me, right now, I'd reinstate the draft. And that's a very important piece. When you start thinking about police, well, we want to get back there. We got about a minute and a half at this point in time. But this has been very interesting, Bob. I think it was great, and hopefully that you will be able to do the same thing with your neighbors. You know what I mean? Get together with your neighbors. Those people who are going to be voting for office. Don't get caught up with a whole bunch of stuff just coming to your house, and you're looking at pretty pictures and this, that, and the other, and you can't even pick up the phone and call the person, and they won't answer. Got me?
That's it.
Now, if you can go to one of those deals where they say, well, you come and meet so-and-so and such and such, all those 50% of the people that are there already work for the guy. You
That's
know?
right.
And they're going to get paid. They're going to get paid because they're going to be, they will answer that phone. But it's beyond that. You know, it's going to take the whole village, as the old saying goes.
That's right.
It's going to take the whole village now. We all going to have to get back and create that village image that we had once before.
And I'm proud to say that my representative to Congress is a Republican, and she sends me information.
Yes.
And she know I'm a staunch Democrat.
It's got to be a nonpartisan environment.
That's
this time.
right. It's got to
It
be.
can't be no R&D now. It's got to be about whoever can deal with those issues. That's what we're going to have to do.
All right.
And so we're at that particular point in time, and let's see. I hope. Let's see. I think our director is here, and yeah, he's here, and he's going to be getting this thing together. And thanks everybody. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Take care.